welcome to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. And man, we have a powerful individual, powerful figure on the show today. We have Pastor Chet Atkins. He's a friend of mine. Me and Chet go back a long time.
A long way, long way,
Long way. And the
long.
journey that he's on now is is far fetched from where he used to be.
Oh,
You
most
know,
definitely.
I remember you. I think we was in Saginaw County Jail, man. You had to go back and do 5-piece, and I
Yeah.
was just thinking this morning for this interview. I say, Chet was sleeping on the table, on the child table back then. There was so many people in the cells.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was so many people in the cell. You were sleeping on the child table,
Yeah.
and when you went and did that time.
Yeah.
And can't, but before we get into it, because I know it's so much, man, we want to talk about with him, but just introduce yourself to everybody and let everybody know who you are.
So I'm Bishop Atkins, Chet Atkins. I am the senior pastor of Gideon Christ Community Church. Also the husband of a wife and 4 children, and lots of my story can go forever of things that God has done. But I am honored and privileged to be here just to tell my story of what God has done for me.
And the thing about you is, man, the transition that you made, man, only few have made it.
No,
There's been a lot of success within your transition. And what I wanted to talk about today is truth versus false.
right,
Things that's truth is going to live for a while,
right,
until until your mission is complete.
right,
But
right,
anything that's false, anything that's untrue, anything that's being promulgated to destroy,
right.
it's going to be transitory on this earth. It's going to be short-lived. That life is not going to be on earth for long.
No,
So I wanted you to explain to people, and I wanted us to talk to people about living in your truth and
yeah,
being a resource to others as to where you can help build them up, help improve, help
yeah,
build instead of destroy. Where your
yeah,
time on earth here is made more longer than a more shorter time that you will have if you were out here destroying.
yeah.
When you were out here destroying in this world, your life gonna be short on this
Most
earth.
definitely, most definitely.
A
Well,
lot of people wonder why a lot of people leave this world so early. What was they doing? Was they helping to build up, or was they helping to destroy? And 9 times out of 10, a lot of people helping to destroy. And so we have these youth at a young age, they dying off rapidly. It's just not a lot of productivity put into the world. But today, we're gonna bring y'all the truth today with Chet.
yeah.
And that's what we want to talk about is living in living in your truth, man. So that you can have a long life.
Yeah, and and that's really the key. That's really the key, is being truthful to yourself. For many years as a young man, I I lived the expectation of other people. And so I never got, for years, I missed the reality of my own life. I missed what I wanted. I missed what I needed, because I lived under the shadow of somebody else, or what somebody else wanted me to be, what somebody else wanted me to do. And when you're living that life out there in the street, man, you tend to become, really, you don't even realize it, you become a people pleaser. And all you're doing is pleasing people. And at the end of the day, these people really don't care nothing about you. But you so how can I say this? You
You
so
depending on
excited.
them for their happiness,
Yeah,
for your own happiness.
yeah, and that's what I did for many years, man. I lived my life for other people, man, and I had to live this code of being First Street Chet. I want that reputation. I want that name. I want, what I'm saying? I want to be loved, but I also want to be feared. You see,
And
you
you
want to
couldn't
be,
have both.
yeah. You want to be loved, but at the same time, you want to be feared. So, in other words, you want to make sure you set a good example to those that maybe don't like you, that these are the consequences and these are the things that I do if I have to do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so it basically giving so in other words, I'm giving a person a choice of how they gonna handle me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And coming up in an impoverished community, majority of us coming up in the one parent home, it's like we need that validation. We don't have a lot of skills. We don't have a lot of education. We don't have a lot of talents as to where we can be some type of superstar, this and
Right.
that. We come from a street. We come from where the streets was prevalent. In everybody life. And a lot of times, as guys, when they get into these gangs and guys, they run around here with the Dracos and everything, what they be looking for is validation.
Yeah, basically, because a lot of times they didn't get the validation at home. My street crime of my life, my spree of crime and violence that I did in the street, it didn't start in the street. It really came from home. It came from a dysfunctional home. It came from a home where I thought family's supposed to be love, but I seen more chaos than anything. You know what I mean? So most of the time when you see guys in the street that's displaying violence and of that nature, a lot of that came from home. A lot of them, a father. I had a father, I had a mother and a father. So a lot of people talking about, they don't have two-parent home, but you can have two-parent home and yet still feel unloved. I had a father and a mother, and I don't know if I ever heard my father say he loved me. If he did it by touching my head and walking by. And maybe he didn't know how to express himself. You know what I mean? Because maybe his father never expressed his love towards him. So I don't know what it was, but what I do know is this: that what I saw at home and what I felt at home prepared me for the rage that I had in the street. So what I was doing in the street, I was only displaying what I felt at home. That's all I was doing. The world basically was my punching bag. I was letting out all the rage and hell that I had inside of me. And many times when we let that hell out, we end up hurting innocent people.
Mm-hmm.
We end up hurting people that didn't deserve it. You know what I mean? And so that's where a lot of us start at. When a guy comes to the street, man, he just not automatically become that guy. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything in life has a stage. Everything has a stage where you have to work. You have to work yourself up, whether it be from good to great,
right,
or whether it be from bad to worse. There's
right,
levels that you have to go through to get to that stage. So for a young guy to turn into a monster overnight, that's a lie. He didn't turn into a monster overnight. That was some things that perpetuate him becoming what he was, a monster and whatnot. That may have been rejection from his father. That may have been insult from his peers, people bullying him. That could be a number of things that trigger him to become a monster. But I can guarantee you this to be a fact: it didn't start when he got in the street. It started when he got at home, when he was at home. And that's why it's so important that we pay attention to our kids at home, because sometimes our kids talk physically that we don't hear verbally. There's a cry. He's crying out. But sometimes parents, and this, I can't speak for other parents. I'm only speaking from my point of view. Sometimes parents can be so engulfed in what they're doing that they don't even see this child is about to jump off.
For help.
Yeah, this child is about to cry for help. And by the time, so he goes to school, he displayed all that. The counselors call home and say, listen here, little Charles is having trouble with other kids in school. He's kicking them, he's spitting on them. So there are signs that leads up to this, man. But a lot of times, man, we end up catching it at the end of the stick. And sometimes it's way too late. And now they have done so much and committed so much heinous crime that it's almost no turning back.
And the thing about that life, man, and because being a gangbanger, it's different levels of the street. And being a gangbanger, when you riding around and you pulling that trigger on somebody, you can't tell on nobody. You gotta go on to prison and do your time when it's that time, because this is the contract you sign when you shoot that pistol. You know, when did you get to that point, man, where you was like, I had enough of this? I'm talking about, take us on the inside, like when you was in prison, like when you was like, I had enough of this. When you just started to just had the first thought of making the transition out of the gangbanging world to doing something different.
Well, you know what? I'm grateful for prison, man. And I know somebody might say, well, how can he say that? I'm prison saved my life. Uh, the best thing that could have happened to me besides giving my life to God was going to prison, because prison helped me put my life in perspective. When I went to prison, I couldn't even read. I
Me
probably
neither.
had a third. I probably had a third grade reading level. I couldn't even read at all. Matter of fact, and so being in prison,
It enhanced you.
it enhanced me, but it enlightened me, man. It made me decide. It made me ask myself, is this the life that you want to live? Is this the life? Waking up every morning, going to take a shower. You got to take showers with. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, with homosexuals in the next cell, and I mean say in the next shower having sex. You know what I mean? Going in the shower, guys and jacked off and got stuff all on the wall. You can see it on the wall.
Man, I was just telling a friend of mine yesterday how far I came, just being
Yeah,
in the situation that I'm in. I was working in Berriga level 5, man, and I was a porter.
yeah,
And up there, these guys was going crazy in the hole. I was working in the hole, and he just sit up there and draw a whole city on the wall with none but feces, with doo
yeah,
doo.
yeah, yeah,
And we had to go in there and clean that up, man. It was the most
yeah.
horrible thing I've
Yeah,
ever smelled
and you
in
only
my
did,
life.
yeah,
You
and
know,
you they paying you 17 cents a day, 32 cents a day. So prison really, and not only that, I knew that being in prison, I had to make a choice. Either I can come out better or I can come out bitter. I can use this time for my advantage, or I can use this time for my disadvantage. And so what I had to do, the first thing I had to do, I had to get in school. I had to get in school because I couldn't read. And so the only way that I can enhance the structure of who I am, I had to be able to read while I can learn. I can learn, but I knew the street, but anything outside the streets, I didn't know nothing about. So I had to apply myself. And so my bunkie, which was a white, a Caucasian guy from Mount Morris, he took out his time every day and had me to choose a word out of the dictionary every day, and I had to learn that word. And then he would ask me periodically what certain words mean. And so through the years, I ended up enhancing my vocabulary because of reading the dictionary and stuff like that. But I knew that I knew that I had to use this time for my advantage, because I knew that I couldn't come back to this lifestyle. This wasn't for me. This wasn't my lifestyle. This wasn't for me. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's really the little things that you miss being incarcerated. Just going to the refrigerator, maybe just sitting on the porch, just maybe
walking to the bathroom, being able
going
to
to the
pee on your
bathroom
yeah.
without having to smell somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right,
Uh,
right.
yeah, somebody telling you
Or
child time, telling you when to eat.
going to sleep by yourself every night.
Yeah,
You ain't in the
going to
queue
yeah,
or next
yeah,
to somebody in the cell. Yeah.
and then people telling you the yard closed. The yard closed. I remember. I had a bad surgery, man, in prison, and I'm so grateful for Damon Barnett, man. I'm really so grateful for Damon Barnett. I had a bad surgery, in prison. And so when I got out of surgery, they brought me back to the prison, but I couldn't walk to the child house. And Damon Barnett used to put me on his back and carry me every day until I got strength again to walk to the child by myself, walk on my own. But every
Wow.
day, yeah, every day Damon Barnett, man, would come and he'll come and get me, and I get on his back, and he'll carry me. He'll carry me to the child house. I am so grateful for Damon, man. Damon really was there. Damon Barnett was really there for me, man. I mean, I had stitches everywhere, man. I mean, I couldn't walk at all, period. And Damon, I could only get to the door of my unit. And when I got to the door of the unit, Damon would bend down and I would get on his back and he would take me to the child. So I'm so grateful for Damon Barnett, man. He really, really looked out for me in a time that I really needed some help and whatnot. But I just made up in my mind, man, that I wasn't coming back to penitentiary no more. I done a crime. I paid for the time. I don't owe nobody else no explanation. I came in here and did what they told me to do, and now it was time for me to go home.
Because I know it's a lot of young guys out here listening. So the love that, when you out in the streets, you're doing your thing or whatever, you got all these people around you, all this love and fake love and so-called love. And then when you get in prison, like, what was that love still there, or, did that love change any? Was
Yeah,
those people
no,
still
you know
there?
what? The love, things did change. A lot of things changed, and I'm not going to go off in no names and whatnot. But that was situations that I stopped. You know what I mean? That was situations where guys from the north side end up coming into prison where we was and whatnot, and guys from the east side was about to jump them and stuff like that, and did some things. I'm not going to go off in detail with that, but they did some things. But I stopped it. I stopped it because I told them, we got to stand together in here. Because if we don't stand together and all we doing is here fighting and whatnot from the street, then Detroit is almost 98%, 95% of the population is Detroit. And so if they see us fighting one another, we ain't got nothing coming. Exactly. You know what I mean? They gonna see that we're divided. So that beef stopped, man. And I tell you, I'm so glad that it did happen that way. Many guys that we are best of friends now. Otis Ray, Skanks, Squirrel, brother Suki, all these guys, man. These guys, man. I got nothing but mad love for these guys, man. Mad love for and they got mad love for me. You know what I mean? Because the Bible says there comes a time that when I was a child, I done childish things. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. At some level of life, you got to learn how to put away the childish things that you used to do and stand up to be the man that you was called to be. And so these guys now that I used to be with, we in the penitentiary, we became so tight, man. It's almost like we came from the same mother. You know what I mean? When I ate, they ate. If they didn't have, they made sure I had. If they didn't have it, I took stuff over there. You know what I'm saying? We took care of one another. You know what I mean? We took care of one another. All that animosity and all that beef that we had in the street of trying to kill one another, man, that stuff was over with. And the good part about it is when we got out, we carry that same love today. We didn't get back out because, see, a lot of times when you get out of penitentiary, your homeboys that have not been to prison will try to make you instigate the situation like, oh, you cool with that Fourth and Kirk nigga, or you cool with that Project nigga. No. That ain't no nigga. That's my brother. This is the guy that had my back in the penitentiary. This is I had his back in the penitentiary. You know what I mean? We all we had. You know what I mean? So how you look at him, I don't look at him like that no more, homeboy. You know what I mean? My eyes been open. And see, I understand that you're still in darkness right now because your eyes have not been open. But when you realize, when you get in a situation where now you don't have nobody to defend, you don't have nobody to count on, but the very person that used to be your enemy, and your enemy ain't got nobody to count on, but the very person was his enemy, is a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Whole nother ball game. And so how you look at him and how I look at him, it's a whole different ball game. And you can't make me look at him no different no more. Because we have grown a bond, a solid bond, you know.
What do you
and
think
so
it's gonna take to, Chet, what do you think it's gonna take for us all to get over this beef stuff in Saginaw, man? For us all to get over this hate, man, get over this dislike, this.
It ain't no get over. It ain't no get over. And I hate to say that, because there's always somebody going to perpetuate certain things of evil, of whatnot, and then it's not going to be over, because you got pride. Pride is a bad boy, and until pride is gone, there's no change. There won't be no change, because somewhere there's always somebody want to be that guy. They want to be that guy. They want to be that quote unquote guy that everybody that love. See, and most of the time there was people. It's false power, man. It's false power. You know what I mean? They've been
false power.
False power. They've been bullied.
Don't live long.
Yeah, they've been bullied, and this is the reality, man. And I hate to say this, man, but some people gonna have to die. That's just the reality, man. See, life is not revolved until somebody die. Blood got to be shed. Blood is the only thing that brings life, man. And I wish, and I'm optimistic, and I wish that all the gang violence would just cease and stop. But that's not reality. That's not reality. Now,
you think it'll never stop?
It ain't. No.
It ain't. I said
no.
The same thing.
No.
It ain't gonna never stop.
No. The key.
It's gonna get worse.
Yeah. The key is to try to save those that can be saved. Mm-hmm. Because the reality is this: there's, no matter how much you live that life, there's a part of you don't want that life. There's a part of you that don't want that life. But sometimes we get in too deep and we know too much. Mm-hmm. And now we fear of getting out because of what we know and what we've seen. And so now we wonder, will our life be in danger because of what I've seen and what I know? Because some homeboys, I hate to say it, would turn against you because you know too much. And so now, if fear creep in on them, they'll say the enemy will start playing in their mind. He know what you did. You know what happened in '89. Now, he know that and whatnot. And so a lot of them be scared to get out. You see what I'm saying? It's false power, man. And then some of these girls, they escalated and they escalated. They, this reputation thing, man, let me tell you something, man. Reputation is nothing but an avenue for somebody else to step up to take your reputation. It's like the king of the mountain we used to play when I was young. Everybody wanted to be the king of the mountain. And whenever there was a strong person that one person couldn't get down, we all would band together to get him down.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So you got guys out here, they like that false power, man. They like that false power. But the key is this: we got to save those that can be saved.
Right.
Because there's some like me, for instance. I said when I was in the street, I said, man, I'm not thinking about no church and whatnot. I'm gonna live this life till I die. This is the life that I like to live. I like this street life. I like this beefing and stuff. I like this. You know what I mean? I did. I really did. I like fighting. I love fighting. I did. And I was good at it. You know what I mean? I like to fight. I really did. I really like to fight. And I was confident in my fighting. You know what I mean? I'm not running. We not doing that. You know what I mean? And if you ain't gonna kill me, then ain't no sense hitting me. Cause ain't no sense hitting me if you ain't gonna kill me. I ain't no tough guy, but you just ain't gonna hit me.
Exactly.
That just ain't gonna happen.
And I know we was at the barbershop one time down there in Hamilton. Shout out to Designer 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you had spoke to me about a moment in your life where someone was trying to take your life. You know what I'm saying? But the gun didn't go off.
Yeah, but you know what? And this is what I was telling you about how the street can get cold. Because I was with a guy, and I really felt like he set me up. I was with a guy, and he told me, he said, "See, somebody following us, man." I said, "Just turn a couple corners, but don't go to my house." And we turned a couple corners and whatnot. And he said, "We good." They dropped off. I said, "All right, that's cool." I said, "Now take me to my house." So when I get home, he pulls in the driveway. The car blocks him off. The guys jumped out the car, came straight to me, put the pistol to my head. His homeboy told him, go ahead and go and get a nigga, go ahead and get that nigga too. So when he pulled the trigger, the pin broke. I heard it's like I had bionic ears, man. And I knew then I had only one time to get away. So I turned around as hard as I could. And with my elbow, I hit him in the middle of his chest, knocked the wind out of him. He dropped the gun. I started running. And as I was running, his homeboy started shooting. Boom, 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 boom. I got to the edge of the house. When I got to the edge of the house, it was about 12:30, close to 1 o'clock. When I got to the edge of the house, I screamed, "Help!" Every light in the neighborhood came on at the same time. But this is the key, how the street can get real crooked. Why my homeboy didn't get killed? Your car blocked off. You ain't got no pistol on you. I'm the only one got a pistol, but I can't reach for it. But how you get away? You see what I'm saying?
So it had to have been set up.
He set me up. He set me up.
So that was one of the, that was one of the pivotal, because I wanted you to talk about, what were some of the pivotal moments in your life that led to you to leave the gangbanging life behind and pursue a different path. And I know that was one of them.
That was one. Me and my brother was going down to the strip club down in Flint. And I was snorting, we were snorting a quarter of coke, some cane. I was high as a kite. And somehow or another, my brother wasn't paying attention. The stop sign came through the window and cut me under my throat.
What?
Yeah, cut me under my throat. If my brother would have went a little further, it would have took my head off.
Decapitated you.
Yeah, it would have took my head right off. And so blood was just coming down my neck from the cut on my throat. And that was the second incident of death. And then one day, man, I went home, man. I had been up about 2 days, man. And my wife was getting ready to go to church. And I went outside. I stabbed the car tires to stop her from going to church. So I went outside and stabbed the tires, and I went jump back in the bed. And when I went jump back in the bed, she came in there. She said, "What you do to the car?" I said, "What you mean?" She said, "The tires on flat." I said, "Well, that's just a sign you don't need to go to church." And she didn't let me stop her. She went, she called the church van. And so I picked up the Bible to run to the door because she left her Bible. So I picked it up to run to the door to give her Bible, but the van was pulling out. So I didn't try to stop it. I didn't try to stop the van. I said, well, she'll get one when she get there. But it wasn't for her, it was for me. I had my finger in it just like that. And so happened, I just opened it up. And I remember reading, if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, then choose this day who you will serve. I dropped it and I kept hearing it in my head. If it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, then choose this day who you will serve. And like a sardine can with the key, some started twisting, some started coming off me, man. I started feeling hollow, like I was naked, but I had clothes on. And when it got down to my waist, man, I fell on my knees, man. I threw my hands up in the air and I said, God, I choose you. So when my wife came home and got ready to go back to church, that's 6 o'clock. I was in the shower. She came in and saying, what, you getting ready to go back in the street all night? I said, no, I'm going back to church with you at 6. She said, you kidding? I said, yeah, I'm going back to church with you at 6. I went back to church with her at 6 o'clock, and I never went back to the streets no more. So that was over 20 years ago. I never went back to the streets ever again.
So how did your family and friends react to your decision to leave the gangbanging life to become a minister?
Everybody laughed at me.
Were there any challenges in the transition?
Oh man, everybody laughed at me. You know, they laughed at me. You know, one of the hardest thing was, you know, I messed with a lot of girls in the street, and they was temptation too. They would call my phone and tell me, stop all that stuff you doing and come on back and whatnot. And I couldn't do it. And a lot of my friends laughed at me, talking about, you know, he's faking and whatnot, and this and that. But I had made up in my mind that I wasn't going back no more. You know, I was done. I wasn't scared of nothing. You know, I mean, what is death? I mean, what is death? I mean, I've faced death many times. You know, what is death? I'm not afraid of death. You know what I mean? I mean, if you live a barbarian life for a long time, death will become a friend. You know what I mean? I was tired, man. You know, I growed up at 13, 14 years old. I slept in an abandoned house, shooting heroin in my veins. You know, I was getting transferred at a young age. I was going back and forth to foster home and whatnot, in and out of juvenile and boys training school and all that. You know, I ended up sleeping in a junkyard over there on Holland, and until the police found me in the back of the car, living in the junkyard. My mind snapped. I ended up in a mental hospital on Harrison Street on the 5th floor. You know what I mean? So I went through so much, man, that, when you have been through enough hell in your life, death becomes a friend. So I wasn't afraid of death. You know what I mean? Death, I had already made a pact with Satan. You know what I mean? I mean, I was just numb, man. You know, when you're numb and you're going through hell in life, you don't understand why you're going through what you're going through. Nobody there to tell you why you're going through what you're going through. Everybody telling you it's your fault, it's your choice and whatnot, as though nobody play a part into the dysfunctional of what you go through and whatnot, and it is just all on you, and nobody and nobody did nothing to you. You know, it comes a place in your life where you say, you know what I'm at? You know, death would knock on your door and say, what about me and you becoming friends? You start taking death chances, that death becomes a friend, man. And that's a lot of them guys in the street right now, man. They stay, many times we stay high to stay away from reality. That's what I did. I stayed high because I didn't want to face reality of where my life is, and then some of the horrible crimes of things that we did in our life. You know what I mean? Them things, you sleep with those things. You sleep with that thing, man. You go to bed with that thing. You know, those those things play a part of your mind, man.
And a lot of times these people, a lot of these guys can't even be in communion with their own thoughts. I used to be seeing guys in the cell, man. They couldn't wait to get out that cell, man, because they couldn't sit there because the thoughts just messing with them. They did so much.
Because it's so much things that they have done, man, and things, every action is a reaction, man, And there's nothing that you and I do that we don't pay for one way or the other. Everything that we do in life, you're going to pay for one way or the other. You're going to pay for it. And a lot of guys, they don't want to stay in, they don't want to have, how can I say this? They don't want to be in reality, man. That reality is a reality check. It makes you look at yourself. I don't want to look at myself. I want to blame you. You the one made me do what I did. You the one made me go that way. You know, I got to find someone to justify the cause of my ignorance of what I've done. You know what I mean? But I can't say I did it. I can't say I did it. And I can't say I'm responsible. I can't. That's too much, because when I take ownership of what I've done, then I have to accept all the things that I don't want to accept. And that plays on your mind, man. That plays on your mind. And so for me to stay inebriated and stay high and drunk, I can keep looking at you as being the reason why I did what I did.
Because you lived in a false reality.
Yeah. And so go back to the point of why I changed my life. I had to change my life, man. I had no other choice. No, I'm not going to say that. I did have a choice, and I chose to live, man. I chose to make a difference. I chose to say to myself, whatever I got to go through in order to be the better man that I am. Another thing, when you have kids, it's not about you no more. It's not about you no more. So all that game banging stuff you're doing, all that other stuff you're doing, it's not about you no more. It's not about you. It's about that child you brought in this world now. So what you gonna do? You're gonna repeat the cycle because your daddy wasn't there for you. Your daddy ain't never told you he loved you. Your daddy ain't never provide for you. Your daddy was never at the football game. Your daddy never came to the PTA. So what you do? You perpetuate that same generational curse of what somebody done to you. You perpetuate it now on your child. No, you don't do that, because what you do, you perpetuate the system and the cycle. So now you prepare this child to go through the same very hell that you went through. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
So what's your message? What message do you have for the individuals who are currently trapped in that life of crime, trapped in that life of gangbanging, and that want to get out? You know,
you have to take that look at yourself and ask yourself a serious question. It's all about talking to the individual, and that's yourself. And ask yourself, is it really worth you keep living like this? What is the gain, and what is the gain of you gaining out of this besides death? I mean, do you want any type of peace in your life? Do you ever want to be able to see your kids, grandkids, and you got to ask yourself a hard question. Do I continue to live this cycle of dysfunction, or do I challenge myself to be better? Because it's all about you. It's all about the individual. You have to challenge yourself. You have to talk to yourself, even though people say, oh, he's losing his mind. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself and tell yourself this: you can do better than what you're doing. You know, and this is the thing. How are we going to remember you when you're dead? Or is the only thing that we're gonna remember you was because you had a Chevy with 23s and 27 rims on there, and you was a hitter? You know what I'm saying? You killed people and stuff like that. You used to have a big you was the man. You slang all the dope. You providing for everybody. Is that the legacy?
Them legacies don't live long at all.
Is that the only thing we gonna remember you from? That you was a shooter? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, we all gonna pay
for legacy.
Yeah, it's all about the
legacy. And I'm glad you said that, because we do have to immortalize ourselves. Yeah. And we got to know that the time is right now for us to immortalize ourselves and put some work in. So when we leave this earth where we done left some truth behind.
That's the reality.
Because one thing about the truth, the words and acts of truth cannot pass away until their work is fully accomplished. The words and acts of error cannot remain, for they have no work to do. You
Right.
know, so when you pass on to the next life, you want to live, do the works of truth, which is gonna
Right.
have longevity, where you can be spoke on 30 and 40 years down the line.
Yeah.
When you leaving, and that legacy that you speaking of is a small legacy that's left on one dot of the map, and that's
That's
back in
nothing,
our
man.
mission.
That's let me say you, man.
It's so minute. You're
I'm
not known
um
nowhere else outside of the state, the county, the nowhere internationally. And,
right.
I,
And you
and
know what? I tell you this, man. I'm more happier than I ever been in my life, man. In my life, man. In my life, man. For almost 20 years, 22 years of my life, I lived nothing but a nightmare, man. I live in such chaos and hell, man, that sometimes I used to pinch myself to see was I dreaming, man. I mean, seriously, man. I went through so much hell, man, in my life as an early age, man, that I couldn't believe that life was really what I was living. I mean, it was so dysfunctional, man. And now being 52 years old today, uh, it doesn't take a lot to keep me happy no more now. I can sit at home right now in this chair right now watching TV, and I don't have to go nowhere today, and I'm at peace. I'm
because
at
you got
peace.
your peace of mind.
I can go outside and sit in my garage, get me a pop out the refrigerator. I got me a refrigerator in the garage where I keep my drinks, and I go in the refrigerator, get me a pop, and I'll sit there and watch all the cars go by my house and just enjoy myself. I realize now at 52 years old, man, that it's the little things in life that makes me happy now. I don't need a bunch of company no more. I don't need to be around a crowd no more. I don't need to see how many females I can hit today to make me happy. I don't need none of that, man. Because if I
You
can't
done
find
found
happiness,
that
yeah,
immovable center within yourself.
it's in me, man.
Like,
It's me.
and that's that.
Me.
And then people got to understand, for all y'all listening out there, be rich within yourself. What
Yeah,
he's saying is, when you rich within yourself and you find that immovable center within yourself
yeah.
for you to stand on in your truth, you
That's it,
don't
man.
need company, you
Yeah,
don't need
yeah.
noise, you don't need all the pleasuristic things of the world to
You know,
make you happy.
know what the Bible say? The Bible say, "What shall it profit a man if he should gain the world and lose his soul?" What have he really gained? What have you really gained with material things, but you have no peace? What have you really gained? What have you really gained? You have gained the money, but you have no sanity. I mean, what really have you really gained? Uh,
Yeah.
uh, because
Because you can have money,
yeah,
but you don't have a purpose. You don't have a mission in life.
and,
You
and,
know,
and I'm gonna tell you something. Most of the time, when you got money, it draws false love, false people. Many times when you got money, people come around you uh that you know it's almost like you're hesitant because sometimes you want to give yourself to people and you want to open up to people, but so many people in today's society, they got an agenda. They got an agenda. And some people now, they want to come around you to see what they can get out of you, and then they gone. And then if they can't use you, now they want to talk about you. So it's almost damn if you do and damn if you don't.
mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And so that's the society that we live in. So it's almost you have to be careful of the crowd that you choose. I don't like a lot of company around me no more. I growed up with a
And
lot of
how
stuff
is it?
around me.
How important is it, man, to have a crowd around you that's gonna hold you accountable to things?
Yeah, well
You got
that's
friends
so,
around you that's not holding you accountable to anything.
well
Far to where I can't. Go ahead.
I told one of my sons this. I said, listen, you have to have somebody you're accountable to. Because when you're accountable, then those people can keep you in line and keep you in check. See, a lot of times we don't want nobody to check us because we have this pride. I'm a man. You don't talk to me. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. But you had them people in the penitentiary told you what to do. You went to child when they told you to go to child. You went to
And
yard when they
this
told
is
you to go to
thing.
yard. So
You'll
now all of
kill
a
your
sudden,
brother. You'll kill
yeah,
your brother, talk smack to your brother, but you won't say nothing to that officer in there
yeah,
that
you
got
won't say
bullied
nothing
in
here,
school.
and so you know, and that's good that you said that because I'm gonna tell you something. How can you love me when you got self-hate?
Hmm.
How can you love me? You can't love me if you hate yourself. And many times, what a person displays violently, most of the time, it's come from self-hate. It comes out of rage of self-hate of things that they know is true about themselves, but they don't want to face reality to it. So guess what they do? They use you as the victim.
Mm-hmm.
They use you as the victim. You know, why would a guy that you know that you a killer, but you go kill a guy that you know ain't even about that life? He ain't even about that life. You killed him because you know that he won't give you that life that you're living.
Mm-hmm.
So you preyed on the victim because the weak always prey on the
Your
weak.
reputation.
Yeah, that's all you did. The weak play on the weak and whatnot. And so it's just you have to be accountable, man. You have to have somebody. If everybody around you always agree with you, you got a bunch of yes man, and eventually you're gonna be the victim.
Exactly.
Everything you say, yeah, you right, man. You sure right, man. You know what? I was just about to say the same thing you said. You sure right, baby. You on the money, boy. I know you right. And he know good and well he lying.
Mm-hmm.
This man is off by 2 left shoes. And you sitting up there kissing his butt because he got something you got, or you scared of him. There's only 2 things. Most yes mans are guys that's scared of a guy, or he got something that he won't.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Yeah. We got
Yeah.
like 10 minutes, man. This is a good interview, man. We definitely got to do a part 2. So, how has your perspective on forgiveness, redemption, and second chances helped you evolve through your journey?
You know what, man? Forgiveness is a must if you're going to continue this journey. If you're going to be anything of happy, if you're going to be happy, or if you're going to be at peace, man, forgiveness is a must, man. And sometimes that's hard. That's hard. I'm not going to tell you that's easy because there are certain guys that done things to me that I had to forgive them. But then as I thought about it, there's things that I've done to people too. You know, so how is it that you can't forgive and somebody forgave you? And so if you ever going to make a transition to be better than who you are, the first step is you're going to have to forgive, man. You're going to have to realize that that's your past. You know, that old guy in the penitentiary told me he was doing natural life. And I remember him telling me that if my future is a reflection of my past, then I've already lost.
Mm.
But with time come change. And so I realized that I had to change. And I had to look at myself, man. I had to stop looking at other people. I had to quit pointing fingers at other people. Because at the end of the day, man, if I make it or fail, it's on me.
It's on you.
It's on me, man.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, what can communities, organizations, and the governments do to prevent gang involvement and support individuals and leaving the gang life behind in doing something different that's productive?
You're gonna have to try to catch those, man, that's not so far gone. Uh it's almost like cancer. Cancer got stages. And they say when cancer gets to stage 4, ain't no turning back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's stages that these kids go through, and you got to learn. You got to be able to point. You got to be able to pinpoint the stages they're in, and the only people that can pinpoint that stage is somebody that's been there. You see what I'm saying? For I tell people all the time, the best person to reach a junkie is a junkie.
Mm-hmm.
The best person to reach an alcoholic is an alcoholic. The best person to reach a gangbanger is a gangbanger.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So because you got to be able to identify when you see it, and many things that you're going to be able to identify ain't coming out no textbook.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't coming from out of a college.
Coming through.
You see what I'm saying? Life has some real life issues.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some things that real life that the streets give that you got to be able to identify when you see it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you don't identify certain stuff at certain levels of life before you know it, it inspired out of control so bad that now
it's at that stage 4.
is at that stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's why the doctors say it's so important for men to come and get a colonoscopy. And like a doctor told me, he said, don't take this the wrong way. But he said many African American men don't like taking colonoscopy. And he said by the time they do come to me, they already at stage 4.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So we can't wait till these kids come to us at stage 4. We got to try to get them to the doctor as soon as possible.
So, what are your future goals and aspirations as a bishop and community leader, and how do you plan to continue to make a positive impact on the city of Saginaw?
Oh man, I tell you, I try to just, my thing is the streets, man. I try to go in the streets, as bishop and whatnot. I, I can't try to identify problems from on the sideline. And a lot of times we want to identify problems from the sideline. But sometimes you got to go get in the midst of it to feel the heart of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to feel how these people feel.
Mm-hmm.
You got to hear how they think. A lot of times we have all these meetings of gang violence and this and that. Why not go get the people that's in gangs? That's really in gangs. Why not go get the person that's smoking dope? Why not go get the woman that's prostituting? Go feel what she feel. Let's hear how she think. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times, and so my thing is when I'm at church, I park my truck at church and I leave and I go walk the neighborhood. And I walk the neighborhood for a reason, because I want to know what you think. I want to feel what you feel. I've been in the streets, don't get me wrong, but the game changed, but it's new players. The game is still the same, but it's new players. But the game is still the same. So I want to know how the new players think that's out there. And so what I do, I try to go out there and listen to the concerns of the people, man. And what I do, I try to speak to what they are, I try to speak to what they can be, not what they are.
Man, that's powerful.
See what I'm saying?
That's powerful, yeah.
I try to speak to who they are, not to what they are. I see that you're struggling with drugs, but that's not who I want to talk to. I want to talk to the one that I know that can be productive. I want to talk to the one that I know that can be an entrepreneur. I want to talk to the one that can be a father. I want to talk to the one that can be a mother. I want to talk to the one that can be a grandfather. I don't want to talk to your present circumstances. I want to talk to your future circumstances.
And listen, so I'm gonna leave you with the last word. I want to read this. Then I want you to leave us with your last word on it, because we got to get out of here in 5 minutes.
Okay.
But we'll be coming with it. We definitely will be coming, because this was a powerful conversation. One of the most anticipated shows I've been waiting on. So we're going to let Chet have the flow after I read this, and we're going to get his thoughts on it. The soul is sufficient within itself. Where the need is, there's abundance of supply right within inside you. Your eternal dwelling place is within. Go there and take possession. And go there and take possession of your mansion. There you are a king, you are a queen. Elsewhere you are nothing but a vessel. Be content that others shall manage or mismanage their own little kingdom, but see to it that you reign strongly over your own.
You know, I'll leave you with this. The Apostle Paul said that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. In order to be your best self, you got to meet your higher self. You got to look within yourself and tell yourself that I was born for greatness. You have to tell yourself that despite of all my shortcomings, God didn't send me here to be a failure. You have to be honest with yourself. As Paul said, I am what I am by the grace of God. Everything that I'm going to be and everything that I should be is only because of the grace of God. And I believe if you look within yourself and be honest with yourself and tell yourself that I may have failed yesterday, but I'm coming up today. And tell yourself, people may have put me down, but God picked me up. Tell yourself that regardless of how deep I fell, God got a plan with my name on it. And I leave you with this, Jeremiah 29:11. For God said these words, for I know the thoughts I think of you, the thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Guess what? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. All you got to do is get in the race. All you got to do is pick yourself up and say, in God I live, in God I die. You got a choice today to be your higher self. You can do it. You can do it. All you got to do is look in the mirror and tell that self, I can do it. I can do it. And I'm going to do it today and watch what happens.
And man, we're gonna leave it on that note, man. It's just so many jewels in this interview today. This is one of the best. This was a wonderful interview. You know, um, truth will live. Find a mission, find a productive mission, find a positive mission, so that you can build a legacy. So that when you leave this world, you leave something behind to be a resource for other people. You leave
That's
something
it.
behind to be edification to somebody else.
That's it.
He said with the youth, we got to be there for the youth.
Yes.
Don't squander your time on this earth being destructive, where your life ends quickly.
Yes.
Destruction not gonna be around for long. It's
Yes.
gonna be transitory. It's gonna be very short lived. But when you find your purpose and your purpose is to help and uplift people, then your mission here on earth is gonna be long.
That's
I
it.
like to thank Chet Atkins for
Bless you, man.
this
Bless you a
interview,
million.
man. This is a powerful interview, and we definitely got to do a part two soon.
Bless you a million, man.
Thank you, man.
All
And
right.
when can they follow you at, man? Give all
Well, I'm at 915 Federal. 915 Federal. We have Bible study at Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We have service on Sunday at 12 o'clock. And so looking forward to seeing you. And I want to say this in closing also. Call somebody. Tell them you love them. Love cover a multitude of sin. Tell somebody you love them. Love change everything. And I guarantee you, you'll feel better today. All right. God bless you, man.
And there you have it, man. Shout out to you, Ted, and wish you much prosperity. And wish you guys much prosperity on your journey out there as
All
well.
right. You
Thank
too.
you for tuning in to another
Bless you, man.
edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. Thank you guys for tuning
Amen.
in.